Boy, oh boy, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Dinner with Heisman's scrimmage recap is coming to a close. College football starts this week. What the hell are we even doing here, boys and girls? Buckle up, get up, let's have ourselves a morning show, baby. Come on. Hot diggity dog. This show is, of course, brought to you by Prize Picks, boys and girls. Good to see you. Happy Monday morning. My golly, what a weekend and what a week we have in store for us this week as college football is finally here. Take a look at the countdown right over here. 5 days. 5 days. Congratulate yourself. You've made it, okay? We have made it through the darkest of times, boys and girls. I'll tell you what, the last 30 days have been a whirlwind of just trying to grind through this non-exciting sports season, but we're here. We've arrived. It is time. We've got a great show for you guys on this beautiful Monday morning. A lot of cool stuff that happened this past week. And without further ado, KTP and Cowboy Ty join us here on this beautiful Monday morning. Gentlemen, welcome.
I wasn't in the dark.
It's a brisk 63 degrees, so sweater.
63 degrees up there?
Wow. Yeah. I would love to be there.
Already?
I'll be honest.
Fall's coming, baby.
Wow, that is insane how quickly I'll just change moods up there.
Fall's my favorite time of year. I love it.
It is fantastic. There's nothing better. The smells, the sights, the sounds, the football. You really can't beat it, boys and girls. We'll get into this later on in the show. I don't know if you guys give me a follow on the Bird app, but I had a wonderful, just beautiful opportunity last night. Was when I say this, I genuinely mean this. Had dinner with the three Heismans at the Florida Gators last night. Like, insane. We'll talk all about it. Got a picture with Tim Tebow, Spurrier. I did not get a picture with Werfel, but the Werfel story is even cooler. So, and there's a cool little token of love in this envelope that we'll go over here in just a minute. And then, yeah, a lot of great stuff. But let's kick it off with, obviously, the big kahuna. We had our final scrimmage this past Saturday, which we talked a little bit about yesterday. We're going to have Steve on later on tonight. He was there, boots on the ground. I believe one of two people that were allowed on the field during that scrimmage, from my understanding. Steve had all the all-access pass, which was really cool for him, and just being able to get an opportunity to do that. But all in all, I guess kind of just quick overview. Also, I had a chance to run into Coach last night. I did ask him who the starting quarterback was while we were there. So, I mean, when in Rome, I walked up to him. I was like, "Hey, Coach," I was like, "Any chance you can tell me who the starting quarterback is?" And he laughed, and we chit-chatted a minute. But as it has come to a close, we now are going to go through a mock week of college football. Cody, any closing thoughts from what you heard over this past weekend in regards to Trammell, the offensive line? A lot of noise.
Yeah, it seems like, it kind of seems like these guys are starting to come into full form. I know that we were kind of worried in the spring with the offensive line. It seems like they've kind of stabled that out, especially at the tackle position on both ends. And so, I'm glad that we finally have gotten it figured out because, if the offensive line is bad, it can be in for a long season. Not that we were thinking that it was, that we didn't have faith in Troutwine, but it was just one of those things where, it's we didn't know what we were getting. Okay. I'm glad that it seems like some guys are stepping up that have already been there. We have some transfers on the line also that have stepped up to the plate after being called out. Defensive line apparently looked pretty good from my source. I'm not going to give them up, Steve. But I think this team's going to shock some people this year. And not to, pump too much Kool-Aid, but when you look at the talent and the coaching around them, Cormani McClain seems like he has he got maybe in a little bit of trouble, and he had to run with the twos, and then came out and absolutely did Cormani things and balled out and picked Trammell off during the scrimmage. It seems like he's relying on his athleticism
Before we get clipped,
doing the right thing.
hold on, I got to interrupt because I'm not having us be dragged across the internet again. You know, there's a few culture vultures out there like to throw some shade. Because I said it yesterday. Steve informed me that because you're not wrong. It has been kind of said that it was an interception. Apparently, though, because Steve was on the ground, that it was not an interception because the whistle was blown before he threw it. Again, a lot of people that were there were up in the champions box, so couldn't hear the whistle. And saw him running away, looked like he was trying to throw it away, but he was already down before throwing it. This was per Steve. So, again, I don't think a lot of people knew that because they couldn't hear the whistle, and it was probably like bang, bang. But it was like he was down, and he kind of just launched it because the play was over. So, just want to make sure, go ahead and clip that. I'm sure it won't get clipped because usually when it's, that's just how things work. I just don't want to you got Dave Gate rocking around. It's a dicey world out there, You got to be careful.
My point was, Cormani running with the twos instead of the ones. I guess Flowers was running with the ones instead of Cormani and Ben Hanks. Ben Hanks has been absolutely stellar, an absolute treat this all spring. And so, it's one of those things where, Cormani has taken a lot of steps forward. We need him to take the big step though. Like this is it, bud. It's time. If the coaches are asking you to do something, you got to do it. You got to stay locked in. I don't know if he gets bored at times or what, but it seems like he went in there and balled out when his number was called with the twos.
Yeah, I think again the big takeaway for me was that offensive line. I talked about it last night a little bit. You haven't had a chance to see it. We'll kind of talk about it now. But the starting five for yesterday or Saturday, was Lovett at left tackle, which had a few people surprised. I was not surprised. I heard some things earlier this week that was kind of being in the works, that could happen. Also heard a lot of great things about Lovett. Now, obviously, Summerall said it during his presser, but Lovett is apparently the dude if he can just figure it out in between the ears, the pink thing upstairs. If he can lock that in, I think we've got an absolute treat in Bryce Lovett, which shouldn't surprise us. The guy's 6'8", 320 pounds or whatever it is. I know that doesn't always tell the entire story, but just physically just looks the best that he's looked while he's been here. Can move anybody that he wants when he's dialed in. So that's your left side. Then you got Najee, which has probably been the only sound part of this offensive line. We never had any question marks there. Harrison Moore, I think, really coming to his own at center, which is very exciting. This is a guy that I keep really hammering home on that I'm excited to see how he's going to do. TJ at right, and then Caden Jones at right tackle, which, again, a lot of kind of movement here. Caden Jones was rotating between that guard position / tackle position. We heard Amika maybe slide over. And I mentioned in yesterday's show, if that is your starting at five, I feel a lot better just given the sheer experience from those guys. Both Caden Jones and Lovett have played tackle. Now, Lovett hasn't played left, so there's going to be some growing pains. But anybody we throw into this damn tackle position, we're going to have growing pains. And I guess you got to really choose of what growing pain would you rather go up against. And I think if I had a choice, it's probably going to be the guy that's, very experienced, played a handful of snaps, looks the part, is dominant when he's in there, right? And is having success. Just his biggest issue right now is the mental capacity. I think it is a massive switch from going from right to left. I do believe that. I don't think it's as easy as we may all just assume like it's the same position, because I don't think that it is. But they feel confident enough on throwing him over there. And I think if that is the case, then you've got Amika, Boyer, Fletcher, and Dice. That becomes your depth. And I don't feel like we just got a bunch of just big dudes kind of stacked on a side, which it felt like that before. So I hope it turns out. I hope it translates to positive things. You never know. But I do feel more confident about it.
Yeah, and you got a very viable backup center there with Zemindel. I think he's fighting maybe a small injury. I don't think it's anything super big. That's another thing surprising coming out of these scrimmages is we're used to having an injury list a mile long, like everybody's in a boot or on life support or a ventilator or something. It felt like the last couple of years under Billy Napier. The poor medical staff at UF, they had to shut down the hospital just for the football players, it felt like, after a practice, let alone a scrimmage. So, it's one of those things where I think the Rusty Witt experiment is working and the injury prevention is working. These guys are still going to get banged up and have bruises and stuff like that. But yeah, it's if Zemindela can get healthy, you have a very, very good center option there for a backup, because let's be honest, the starting five of the O-line game one will not be the starting five at the end of the year. These guys just get rolled up on, tweak an ankle, knee, what have you. I mean, they're probably at the highest position of getting rolled up on because, there's just massive bodies, falling down all the time. So just remember, you got to have your top five your starting five. Once one gets injured, you're kind of throwing that away. You got to really have 10 guys that can roll in there.
Yeah, I mean having a rotation of guys is always important. Being able guys to put different positions, moving guys from guard to tackle. They got to, you got to have all that when it comes to the offensive line. These guys got to be able to play multiple positions. And like you said, these guys get rolled up on. You need the rotation is super, super huge. So the next guy's got to be ready. And back to this injury thing, you said you've had injuries over the last 2 years and things like that. Do you think that's a coaching thing to understand how to push these guys? Or, is it Nape, what do you think is Nape, you're not understanding how much, you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, do you think it's just like Rusty Witt's just strength and conditioning just so much better? Do you think it's like the coaching understand not to, put these guys in positions where they're going to get hurt consistently?
I have a small theory. So there is a part two from what I've heard is the practice has changed a little bit.
Yeah.
The amount of it has changed, I guess you could say. So the previous regime, I think there was a combination of probably strength and conditioning not coming out of strength and conditioning at 100%, I think was the first part. And then the second part, I think that the way the team is utilizing its time has changed. And so now, again, I don't know if it's going to bode well, but I think it's protecting them as of now. Everybody's fresh, everybody's healthy, so nobody's kind of going working on fatigue. In the Madden game when your bar goes down and you're starting to slow down, you're more likely to get injured. Your player is when the bar is down. That I feel like was our issue more so the last couple of years than anything else, because I've talked to guys that part of the last regime and just kind of how it went. It was exhausting, apparently, just because, and I think that was just like them trying to just figure it out, and they just felt like if they just do more, that it'll work itself out, right? Like that was their mentality of like, we're just going to practice, and keep on practicing to where it works. And I mean, I think we've all know and have played a sport, like practice is important, but if you just practice every single day, it becomes a point where you almost can get lost in the sauce. And I think that may have been a little bit of the problem with how the team was running, but also the injuries as well. So again, I'm not saying this to say that the way that we're doing it now is the right way. It feels like it's the right way because of the results we've had up until this point, which is no injuries, right? And I feel like that's why again, the guys are extremely fresh, and every time we do see them on the field, they are very explosive, because there seems to be a little bit more organization in that regards. And I don't even want to say it's organized, because I think last time it was organized, it was just maybe a bit over the top. I don't know.
Well, but the reason I say it is because I remember back during the I'm not bringing up high school stuff, but like we would practice full pads, all the way till Thursday, and then Friday you go out and play. And then there was a team that was always the best team in the county, but one of the best teams in the state. They were called Seneca Valley. They never put on pads until Friday. Never. And they win 11, 10 games every single year. And then everyone started to figure out what they were doing at practice. And then more people started to lean towards shorts, helmets. And then his theory was Friday, they haven't hit anybody all day. They're ready to go smack some people. And it must have worked because they were one of the best and always one of the most healthiest teams.
Well, it's a weird mindset, because you think, like, okay, like, hey, you want these guys to be comfortable hitting. But then you're like, okay, but you're also putting that person, imagine playing 5 games in a row. Like, you're playing a similar vibe to that where your body is just ran down. So you may be fresh for the first quarter or two, but by the time the game gets where it needs to be juicy, you're cooked. And like the whole theory of like, oh, well, they got to be ready to hit and ready to do all these things. I mean, yeah, but if you're not ready to hit somebody by the end of the first quarter of the game, it don't matter how many times you tackle somebody. You know what I mean? So that wouldn't really matter. So, yeah, I think, look, I mean, we've heard Curt Cignetti talk about this as well. Like, they don't practice. And people were kind of like, what is he talking about? It's like, we don't practice. Like, not actually, but it's very, very limited to what in comparison to what other people are doing. So, again, everyone has their own, beats their own. Go ahead.
Kiffin's kind of adopted that too, and they found out that IU and Ole Miss were the two freshest teams in the fourth quarter because they're not hit. I mean, every time you step on that practice field, the opportunity to get hurt is through the roof, right? So those guys are just limiting those, and I think we've kind of seen that with Dallas Wilson. It's like, but we don't. Why? Like, why do we? Like, yeah, he needs to practice, but like, what? Why do we need to see this guy? Run 1,000 yards
throttled in practice.
A day? Like, we know what he is. Like,
well, that's my theory.
What that can do, if you have those guys kind of sitting on the wayside, that can elevate some guys that actually need the work, that actually need the reps, the live reps. Because some of these guys, it's like Dallas Wilson Ball. It's like, we know what they are. Like, just get them to the season.
Well, yeah, and that's my theory. These guys have been playing football since they were 6 years old. Like, they're grown men now. Like, they know how to tackle. They know how to do these things. Like, I lean towards, keeping my guys healthy, keeping them fresh. They don't need to be out there in pads beating the hell out of each other. During camp, I understand. Like, during camp, like, we're getting right back into the rhythm of it. But during the season, I'm all about keeping them fresh. Like, I'm more on the mental standpoint. Like, let's just get focused and like, let's put these guys in the right positions, because if you're more healthy and you're more mentally focused, in all truthfulness, and we know how to tackle. We've been doing it since we were 5 years old. So it's not like it. I think staying healthy in this day and age is way more important than getting reps at tackling and catching in pads and things like that. That's just my theory behind it. And I was curious about how you guys felt. Like you said, you're all more healthy this year, and I was just very curious.
No, it's a good question. And again, Boring Gator says there's a good reason why Savage got him playing with Kiffin. Yeah, like I've talked a lot about this. Like, once you've got a guy as your strength coordinator or strength and conditioning coach, you hold on to that guy and you don't let him go. And I don't even know, who did Billy bring with him to JMU? I'm very intrigued by that, because I feel like that is such a big thing. Like, we kind of complain about offensive coordinator, which was an issue in itself, but there were so many other factors to in my opinion. Again, the offense I complained about, but if the offense could kind of find itself and get going, it could be lethal. I mean, very, very few and far between. At least I use the word lethal lightly, I know, but their biggest hiccup was just we were always just getting bodied by everybody physically. So yeah, look, I think when the hard work is done in January, and we've heard Tate Casey say that, of like, that's when you win the season, is January, February, March. And I feel like we crushed it in January, February, and March. And I even said, I go, look, if you're showing up this time of year, you're trying to figure shit out, it's already too late, dog. Like, you're trying to elevate and grow yourself, but if you're trying to learn stuff and figure things out, you're done. At the dinner last night, John showed up, Coach John, and said a few words. Him and I spoke personally, which was really cool. The guy, and I'll get into the story time here in a little bit, but the guy is infectious. I don't know how to explain it, but usually people of that stature are kind of hard to approach or walk up to, if that makes sense. What's really cool is I feel like last night I spoke with Warfel for a while, very approachable. Even Tebow, very approachable. Spurrier too. Spurrier is kind of in a different, class, just being a little bit older. He was very polite though, very nice, just kind of more to himself. And it was a long day. But I felt like I walked to John like I've known him my whole life. And maybe that's me, my personality, and I'm just kind of like, whatever. But the way he accepted me when I said, hey, it was like, yeah, okay, like my intentions were correct. Like, this is cool. Just awesome guy. I can see how he is able just to really just take over a room. But during his little speech, he made a joke because he was late to the dinner, which I didn't really care. I figured he was just kind of, doing his own thing. But he mentioned, he said, hey, I was late because if you guys heard of that scrimmage, he goes, the defense was basically defense sucked because they gave a lot of touchdowns, which people were saying. So he's like, we were trying to fix that yesterday because if we ain't got defense, we ain't going to be anything. He did make a joke. He's like, man, life's great. I'm undefeated right now as a head coach. I'm loving it right now. So that was pretty cool because he is loving it. Like, he's in the perfect scenario right now of where he's at, like literally living on a cloud nine. Everybody loves him. He's the new guy because he hasn't lost anything yet. And it's like, man, this is you kind of don't want it to end because it is very fun. But it was interesting to hear him say about the defense. I think it was more of him just kind of talking, but because I'm very high on this defense, and Steve will talk more about the defense and what he thinks tonight. But yeah, Very, very cool stuff to get his perspective. Go ahead.
Dude, I've always been a John fan. You guys know that very well. And then he's just a charismatic guy, man. Like you feel like you can go up to him and talk to him and say whatever. And when we met him, I felt the same way. Like it never at no point did not think that you couldn't talk to that guy. And he was just like a normal dude. He was just hanging out. He would just show up at a store and just walked in and like, everyone's like, hey, and he's signing people's stuff and he's just shaking hands, like smiling, just having a good time. Like he's infectious, like you said. And I think that leads to great coaching because your kids can feel the same way. The kids, the college guys, they feel like I can buy into this dude. This is feels like I'm just playing football like when I was a kid again. This is fun, and I think that's a big deal when you can believe in the coach and feel like you can go talk to him and go up to him and you get that good relationship. It makes you want to play harder, and it's really, really good for the fans. It's good for the football players as well.
No doubt.
Yeah, he's definitely
Good.
He's definitely infectious, right? Like he's done all the right stuff in the offseason for this fan base to, grab on and like him. I don't think there's very many critics of John Summerall. Now, obviously in a little less than a week or a week or so, then there could be some criticism, but we'll see. We'll see what happens through the season. I think we're in a much better position though than what we were under the previous regime.
I did, when talking to John, kind of compliment. I go, look, man, what's really cool is just kind of noticing I feel like the aura of everyone seems very calm and collective. And he kind of said the same thing of like with the quarterback battle of like, look, like if you'd asked me a couple months ago, and he said this in his presser, so I'm not really breaking any news here, but he's like, it wasn't even close. He's like, but the strides that Trammell has made have been tremendous, which is great. You love hearing the room elevate. And again, I think he feels very confident from what I could tell and what he's got. And I think he seems excited as why wouldn't you be excited to rock and roll? So, yeah, all in all, it was great stuff. Good.
I was going to say, as this camp's going on and the things I'm starting to hear, I'm starting to think that Trammell end up going to be the guy. At first, I thought it was going to be Philo, but now I think Trammell's, from what I hear and the rumors and what you just said, makes me just believe that Trammell's going to win the job.
Yeah, I think it could happen over time. I don't know if it'll happen off week one, but look, FAU I think is going to be an interesting game because that game will throw a little juice at us. It's kind of, we've talked about it a little bit. It's similar to USF where it's not a true like walkover. I mean, we should dominate. Let's not get it twisted. But I think FAU would throw some smoke early on, and whatever quarterback is thrown into the mix better be dialed in. Better be ready to rock and roll is all that I'm getting at. Let's go a couple super chats here. Don't let the threes get to you, Sheldon. Yeah, me and Ant were going at it in the Discord a little bit. Not going at it, but having conversations. Look, I still think your question or your statement was phrased improperly, but I hear you. I appreciate that. I will say, me and Anthony had a healthy debate, which that part was refreshing. I'm not going to read all this, but Tim Bucks tried to watch another podcast. I'm not going to read the rest. You guys do it the best. Here's some support. Part of my yearly high top budget. Go to work. Go Gators. Thank you, man. Look, there's obviously been some beef that's been going around on the internet. If anyone's on Twitter, you're fully aware of it. We've talked about it. It's frustrating to watch from this side. I'm not a fan of how things have been handled. Not in regard to Steve. I think Steve has done personally. I mean, obviously he's my guy, so I'm always going to support Steve. But I feel like there's a lot of things that people don't see or understand, and just see him kind of acting out. But it's a little over the top of what's been going on. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. We're gonna keep rock and rolling in this oversaturated market and do the best we can to keep moving forward. So let's talk about
back-to-back years. Okay, I'm just saying.
Let's discuss this real quick. This show is, of course, brought to you by Prize Picks. Look, we're going to talk about Oklahoma, and then, of course, I've got a story for the ages to tell you guys about the other night. But this show is, of course, brought to you by Prize Picks. Use that code HMA. Play $5 to get $150 if you win. For brand new users, exciting time here on the Prize Pick app. Oh, this is not what we want.
Well, then we already made one of those, I think. We made one of those like 2 weeks ago. We were so bored.
What's that?
like one of those prize picks for college football. We were 3 weeks away.
Oh, dude, yeah, we trust me, we are.
Sheldon's bank account's going, well, what's going on?
Yeah, we've been all over it here for sure. I don't know what's going on. All right, we're gonna go ahead. My for whatever reason, we're in shambles right now. I don't know what's going on with.
It showed Bush.
Yeah, that was I don't know what's happening here. Rookie stream here. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I'm a little lost for the sauce right now. To be quite honest with you.
What is happening right now?
If you want me off, buddy, just tell me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, what you wine and dine with Gainville Elite, and now you're just you don't even know how to do the basic simple.
Dude, this is crazy. Yeah,
ad?
I don't know what's happening. I'm
Sheldon
lost
for mayor.
Yeah, you said Gainville, yes, but that's fine. Look, real quick, you guys, we did this pick yesterday, so you guys can still get on the action with the prize picks. Again, use that code. This was a pick that I did yesterday. Even though you said yes, we did get a way ahead of it. I picked another one again for this week, so we're gonna be. I got Ashton Daniels for more than 41.5 rushing. King Miller for more than 66.5 rushing.
Alejandro 1.5 touchdowns. That's a gimme.
I got him for more
yards,
more than 254 passing yards because we're gonna be watching that game, and then I had King Miller for a touchdown. I was like, that should be an absolute lock. So that's why I locked in yesterday. I don't know why we're having an issue, but you guys, you still got a chance to get up after it. So use that code. Download the app today. Again, a lot of great things now in the Prize Pick app. You can pick your favorite team to win. You can pick the spread. You can even pick total runs, total score. So you can damn near do everything you would like to do. And then, of course, they have you can ride with the crowd, which is always a good time. And they have a lot of guarantees that will be happening this season. We already took advantage of one of the guarantees for the NFL season that's on the app. So get in on the action. Prize Picks. It is good to be right. A little bit of chaos there, but
That's all right. That's all right.
That's what we do. All right, let's do Oklahoma preview, and then we got some other stuff we can talk about, but then I can kind of talk about the show a little bit. But let's get to Cowboy Ty here for a minute.
All right, well, here we go. So, as I told you all that I thought that Georgia was going to be the team that kind of disappoints this year, this is the team I think that's going to impress this year. Oklahoma.
Bars.
John Mateer is healthy again. I've really believed last year that hand injury, he never looked the same, and I think we could all agree with that John Mateer's zip was not the same after that hand injury. It just didn't feel like the ball came out right. It looked like it was wobbly at times. It didn't look like he could throw it into windows with arm strength. Something was off. But Oklahoma this year has a healthy Mateer, and if he can stay healthy, I do believe that this team might be my sleeper team to win the Natty at 30-1. That's the team that I'm very intrigued by if I was going to make a bet. I say here and I look at the team, Isaiah Satinga on the outside end up going his go-to guy, and that guy is special. He's a sophomore this year. He was also returning kicks last year. He was doing everything. And they add Parker Livingston coming over from Texas.
He's a fifth
year. Did I say sophomore? I'm
yeah.
sorry. I didn't mean sophomore. I meant senior.
I figured the way you said it, I was like, that didn't seem like a sophomore.
Yeah. But Parker Livingston comes over from Texas, and he was their big play guy. I don't know if you guys remember, but I think he was the only one that scored against Ohio State was Parker Livingston. But he was the guy for not the guy for Texas, but he was the guy that was, when Arch felt like he needed to go to somebody, like that was Parker Livingston. He felt like he was going to catch the football. Now, when you say here and you look at their offensive line, they have one guy who is going to 100% get drafted in the league. He's only a sophomore right now. I don't know if he at least got to stay one more year. But Michael Faasi, I don't even know if I could pronounce his name right, but that dude is an absolute monster at left tackle, and that's the most important position on the offensive line is that left tackle position. This team is going to run the ball with Xavier Robinson. He's 6 foot. He's 235 pounds, and he can take a beating, and he can also lower a beating for sure. Now, they have to be better on offense because they were not very good last year, and it all started after that injury. So Mateer's got to run the ball better because that's also something he's very, very good at. But that offensive line's got to block better as well. somehow I like didn't even realize that they were in the CFP. Like, and somehow that slipped my mind that team made the CFP. They were 10-3, and they had the best defense in the country. They were the number one defense in the country, number one sacks, number one tackle for loss. It was Brent Venables football. Like, they were getting after it up front, man. I know Cody's guy, David Stone. He loves David Stone. We talked about this. That is his boy, and that guy is definitely going to get after it. And then you look, Taylor Wayne. I think he had 7-8 sacks last year off of that edge, and he returns. This is a very, very, I don't want to say old, but it has, all these guys were in the system last year. It's got 6 returning starters. They don't have any transfers on that side of the ball. It's pretty much juniors or seniors across the board. And I'm going to tell you, these guys are going to get after it. Owen Heineke and Kip Lewis, those two linebackers, we're talking, they could both be all SEC by the time this year is over. And then the two in the back end, they're two corners. They have brothers. One's playing strong safety and one playing corner, and they're both really, really good football players. Peyton Bowen last year was their main guy in the secondary. He made all the tackles. And then Eli Bowen, he fought some injuries last year, but that dude can flat out play. Those Bowen brothers, man, they can really get after it. So, when you sit here and you look at the stats, they were number one sacks, number one tackle for loss, and they were number one defense. The offense doesn't have to do much. The offense, they have to be better than they were, obviously. But, if they can score 24 points a game, they're probably going to make the CFP because the defense is so good and they can flat get after it. And Venables, man, he can draw up some things. And I wasn't a big fan of him at first, but that team last year, man, that defense flying around and making plays, it was fun to watch. They really do blitz, and he dials things up, and man, they stunt and do all these things. And it's hard to block. So I'm a big believer in OU this year. One thing the Gators do have going for them, this game is in the Swamp, I believe, and that's going to be. This is going to be one game I want to go to for sure. I want to see the OU Florida game. I think we're going to be looking at a defensive rock fight, like we like to say sometimes. So I don't even have a team picked yet for this win, but I really want to go to the game.
It is. I agree. I think they're probably one of the most underrated teams in the SEC, in my opinion. I'm very high on them this year. I had them 11-1, 10-2, and I did have them losing to Florida, and that was probably maybe a little bit of biasy there. But I just, given where the game sits, the stretch that Florida has to go through, it's the Ring of Honor ceremony. There's a lot of things that are going our direction, and if I think this team can be what I believe it can be, even the Florida, there's opportunities for obviously pulling this thing off. But you look around this team, like you said, talent everywhere. The offensive line has a lot of talent, but it's very young, and that was a big issue for them last year, being able to get the ball moving on the ground. That was obviously, there was no surprise. But yes, defensively, we talked about they were the Iowa defense for the SEC. It was complete opposite of what Oklahoma fans are used to. They're used to the kind of the high-flying, gunslinging style, but they got it dialed in defensively. Again, David Stone, Jay Jackson, both IMG guys that Cody is very, very high on that defensive line. And then they've got weapons. They got a very experienced room in the wide receiver room. I am very high on John Mateer. I think that, look, you don't need John to go be a superhero, but if John is what he was pre-thumb injury, which was good, I don't know if it was great, was enough, right? Morning, buddy.
They also have a guy, if he can stay healthy, watch out on that defensive. He's a defensive back nickel, and his name's Michael Boganowski. They call him the Boogeyman. That guy's looking to take souls. When he hits you, I mean, he's the enforcer of that DB room. His biggest problem has been the concussions. He's had a couple because the way that he plays, but it's something special to watch when he's flying around and absolutely knocking the snot out of running backs and wide receivers coming across the middle. You look at that offensive line. Bill Beatembo, he's got more NFL offensive linemen in the NFL than any other O-line coach right now. They're the highest paid offensive line also. offensive lineman in the NFL. So proven production there. The question is, and it's kind of funny because OU fans aren't very high on
So
John
weird.
Mateer or it's like this weird thing where like they just run everybody out that's not Lincoln Riley. Like they hate their offense for some reason.
Yeah, it's not what they're used to. And I maybe that's what it is. And look, to be fair, Florida fans in a similar fashion do. Like if it's not a high-flying, gunslinging offense, we get frustrated too. So I guess that's what it is. But I'm like, yeah, I'm looking at this team. I'm like, yo, like they look solid. And like even I talked to Jason today and I was on a show, and he was kind of like, I was like, as cocky as you have been since I've known you about this Oklahoma team, this is the least cocky he's been of this team. I was like, this is probably the best team you've had.
It's the best team that you've had.
Like, what are we talking about? This is wild to me. Like, get it. Like, and you're right. Like, they kind of back-ended into the playoffs last year. Like, it was kind of weird because they just quietly got it done. Like, the wins never looked good. It was very Iowa-esque. Like, it wasn't sexy. Yeah. You weren't like, yo, they dominated. It's like, oh, they won, I guess. Cool. And then you kind of forgot about it.
But people get caught up in high flying. Why are they so high flying? Because they have to be, because they couldn't stop anybody back in the day. Well, now they can play defense. They don't have to be high flying. They can control the game, and that's what people get lost in this. Oh, well, look at their offense, look at their defense. But like it's because of the style of play, and I get caught. I hate when people get caught up in that. It drives me insane.
If they have a top 50 defense in the nation with that, or if they have a top 50 offense in the nation with that defense, they're going to win a shit ton of games in the SEC. Like,
100%.
If they can score 21 points a game, like they are going to, there's not very many teams that's going to put up 21 points against this defense. I mean, it's a tough defense. They're exotic. They bring pressure all over the place. You know, it kind of reminds me of B-Flow up there at Minnesota. It's a tough defense to crack, man, and I think you have a great defensive mind. I would probably say him and Mike Elko are probably the two most fascinating defenses in all of college football right now.
Yeah, they'll put your teams in a blender. It'll be interesting to see how Buster responds and what he's able to dial up. And we'll talk with Steve more about that tonight, kind of what he saw on Saturday of kind of just like how they were, because our defense struggled a little bit. I think he has reasons for that, but it will be interesting to see how Buster schemes around these defenses.
Yeah, I mean, when you watch Oklahoma and you watch them play the game, you feel like the offensive line is just like their heads are spinning sometimes because they don't know who's coming from where, and they just it seems like they're always trying to communicate with you. They just look like exhausted trying to figure out where this pressure is coming from sometimes. So this game, like the O-line coach is going to have his hands full, and he's got to figure it out. They got to dial it up, and they got to pick up on tendencies and schemes, and you got to have your O-line communicating very well in this football game. It is super important. That's how you beat Oklahoma. You stop their blitzes and make them pay for it. And the thing about Florida is they have the athletes to make you pay for it. So if they blitz one too many times and they find Vernell over the middle and he's gone, like you're not catching Vernell Brown. So and Singleton's the same way. So Florida's got it's just I think this game relies on a lot of games rely up front, but this one to me up front is the most important for sure.
I just think like people don't realize how good John Mateer was before the thumb injury.
I agree.
Like even Jason, like he's like, they rushed him back from the thumb, and the Michael Hawkins experiment that didn't really work out, and which he was a young kid. It's tough. And it's like, dude, like that guy was absolutely electric before the thumb injury. Like that guy was posting up giant numbers.
He was number one in my opinion. He was a number one quarterback in my opinion. I don't know if people understand how big a thumb is holding that football. Like that thumb.
Yeah, if it's like numb.
Yeah. Yes. And you could see a different kind of zip on his ball. I don't care what anybody says. I could sit there and watch it. If you go back and watch his first couple of games to his last games, like you can see a different zip.
I think the decision making was a big thing. Like, so, because he was 3 for 1, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception game 1 with 30 for 37, so 80% completion. That's against nobody. Michigan was 21 for 34, 1-1, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, so not great. I mean, good, but again, 1 for 1, kind of a wash. Temple 42-3, 282 yards, had a touchdown and an interception there too. Then Auburn was 24 for 36, 271 yards, touchdown, no interceptions. And then in Texas, he threw 3 interceptions.
That was
That
he
was
got
the
hurt.
rush back. That was the rush back
Yep.
game.
He
where
had
was
surgery.
bleeding.
Yep, that was it.
Oh yeah, you're right, because there's a gap there.
Because he said he wasn't missing the Texas game, and I get it, but at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for your team, and that definitely was not what was.
He was
best for the team.
bleeding. Remember, like he was wiping the blood off of his thumb from the surgery. It's like,
Yeah,
I don't know if John Mateer's 100%. It's like, yeah, he's bleeding all over the place. Yeah, he's not 100%.
Yeah, then he was just kind of mid for the rest of the year. Never really cracked 200 again outside of against Ole Miss, where they lost, and then 307 against Alabama, where they lost. But outside of that, it was just, or then 318, where they beat LSU. But again, just kind of 150, 138, 173. Definitely lost who they were. And again, him being able to throw the way he was throwing opened up the offense more for them. That was the big thing. I mean, they were obviously undefeated until he goes down, and then drop against Texas and still beat some other teams.
Mateer would be my also sleeper for Heisman on top of it, because if OU is going to be as good as I think they are, he's going to have an opportunity to win the Heisman as well.
He was, like you said, he was definitely the favorite early on after these first couple of games with just the numbers and stuff like that. So it'll see. Again, I think their defense is what made them more special. Again, I think when we're talking about Oklahoma, I had Mateer ranked 5th at quarterback. You don't need Mateer to be a Heisman. I don't think they needed to be a Heisman last year, but was he better than Jackson Arnold and Michael Hawkins was for them? Yeah. And that was the thing, is like they didn't need John to be this superhero, but if you got a guy throwing 300-plus yards and you got a defense as suffocating as they are, it's going to be a long day for the boys, right?
Yeah,
and I'm talking about the boys on the other side of the ball. So, like you said, Cody, 35-3, 24-13, 42-3, 24-17. That was, I mean, then they comes back, they lost 23-6. Again, only gave up 23 points against Texas when you basically have a non-efficient quarterback. Then they go on to win 26-7. Then they lose to Ole Miss, who, again, that was obviously one of the better teams in the college football, so that is what it is. That's mano a mano. Beat Tennessee 33-27. Tennessee always puts up points. I don't care who you are. Alabama 23-21. Again, suffocating again. Mizzou 17-6. LSU 17-13. I mean, we're talking about Iowa football, boys. So that's where they live. That's where they live.
This day of college football, that's unheard of. I mean, it just is.
And Oklahoma's got to figure out how to run the ball. I think that's the missing piece for them. They haven't ran the ball very well. They fired their running back coach last year because they couldn't get a rhythm. And they got Xavier Robinson. They got a couple other guys. The question is, are they going to be able to establish that run? I think so. Yes, they have the talent and weapons back there to do that, and they have a couple different type of backs. We got Andy Bass. He hasn't done anything yet, but he was a quarterback in a running like a veer team, and he is super athletic and he was just hurt coming into his freshman year. So we'll see what he does. Like you said, they got Torrey Blaylock, they got Xavier Robinson. They have some home run hitters there, and they got some guys that can just chunk yardage 3, 4, 5 yards a tote. But the question is, can they run the ball? If they can run the ball, they're going to suffocate a lot of people, especially with that defense.
Yeah, I think they were 112th in rushing last year, so they weren't.
It was not good.
It was not good. And I don't know if you guys. I saw a picture of him the other day. He said he put on 15, 20 pounds of muscle. A guy, it looks like he could pick me up and throw me across the room.
He's melting the cup. He's melting the cup for sure.
Yeah, he looks insane. He looks insane, no doubt. Look, great stuff. Great preview as always. Love it. You don't have a pick for this game. I think it is pretty tight, but we'll see. We'll see how much time we have, but I'm going to talk about kind of last night for a little bit because I think it's one for the books for sure. Those of you who don't know, I was able to go to the Florida Legends event last night, which had all 3 Heisman Trophy winners for the Florida Gators in one room, which I don't think has happened ever outside of one time in New York for like a Heisman situation. So one of a kind event, to say the least. Shout out to Brian from Alma Mater, the guy who runs it. Phenomenal guy, has become a really good friend. He's incredible. A quick little story about him. So he hand painted 4 balls last night. One with Tebow's face on it and had like Tebow and then his name. One for Warfel, one for Spurrier, and one with all 3 guys. And then he signed it. They're all one of one. Well, kind of. I'll get into that in a minute. And then all the players signed their in respective balls, and then, of course, the 3 balls. And they were incredible. Like I can't explain to you here. I'll actually have a video. I'll pull him up while I'm talking. The guy is phenomenal. He's an artist. He has so many cool things that he does, and it deserves everything he's earned thus far. But when we're walking around, he asked me to help him, like kind of like, hey, can we go? Let's go show these off. So me, him, and the Kellys, Sean Kelly and his wife Kim Kelly, went and showed them around. Like, hey, here's what that's not working for some reason. I can't show you guys. Let's go show them off and like so people can see what they're getting, right? And I'm trying to show these things to you guys so you guys can see what I'm talking about. How cool they are. There you go. All right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's sick.
So incredible. And they all signed them. And I was like, dude, these and they were going to auction them off that night. And I was like, these balls are going to go for like 5-10 G's. Like how do you not? They're like you've never seen anything like it. Like like to have all 3 autographs of the 3 is insane.
You got to buy the set.
So they start auctioning them off. The first ball was, I think it was Spurrier or Warfel maybe, $5,000. Then Spurrier went $5,000, and it went to the same guy. And the Tim Tebow ball came up, 10 G's. But I guess, so the guy that offered it 10 G's already bought the other 2. So he was all in on getting the set. Apparently, I guess somebody else wanted it. I couldn't hear what was going on in that part of the room. So Tim stands up and he's like, hey, can we get another ball from Brian and he'll put another 10 G's down. And I called Brian over and was like, absolutely. That goes for 10 G's. The other ball goes for 10 G's. So I think it was like $40,000 was raised on these 5 footballs that were made by Brian. And I mean, just to think from Brian, like he spent 7 hours on each ball, like the work, the effort, and to be able to raise money for Isaiah 117 House, which is what our golf tournament was associated with, like such a great organization. That was a crazy moment, like real quick. So, bro, Tim Tebow, y'all ever need anything to like get pushed through? That's your guy, okay? So Sean Kelly, like they all come up, they all talk. Tim Tebow says this amazing speech. Warfel says some amazing speech. Spurrier, like all these guys, like we're all just like everyone's just like moved and like emotional. I can see why Tebow was successful as he is because just his ability to talk. Sean, they all go sit down, and Sean Kelly's like, look, like we're really close to getting a house. The whole point of Isaiah 117 House, they built these houses for people for foster homes. So there's like a middle ground between, so someone has a place to go before finding a home. And Sean's like kind of talking. He's like, look, we're not going to have one in Gainesville now this month, maybe not this year, but we're working our way towards that. Then Tebow comes back up and he grabs the mic. He goes, what do you mean? Why are you talking like we're not going to get this done tonight? And then he points to the lady, Kelly, who runs Isaiah. He's like, what do we need to make this thing happen right now? Like, we have Gator Nation. What do we need? I was like, yo, this is nuts. That's like Tebow about to squeeze the air out of the room with this. Like, everyone kind of like looking around. I was like, shit. Like, Tebow's put his ass grinding today. If Tebow asked him to write a check for $500,000, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Like, this is going to be nuts. And she's like, we need a chairman or something like that, like someone to kind of like represent the house. And then $500,000 was what she said. And he's like, so who's going to volunteer to be like the chairman or whatever? Some lady stands up like freaking Hunger Games. I volunteer. I was like, yo, this is nuts. And then he goes, what do we need? How much money do we need to get to $500,000? Unfortunately, they didn't have the number. I was like, drop the ball. If we would have had the number, who knows what would have happened with these footballs. But we never got a number of what we needed to get there because it had been a busy day. Like they had been going since like 10 o'clock this morning with raising money. So who knows what they raised? I have no idea. Those tickets last night were not cheap either. So no clue how much they raised. But you gotta believe we gotta be close. But yeah, it was really cool to see Timmy get involved with that and just all the people come together. And then again, Brian, painting these balls and the success that he was able to have last night. Very happy for him. And again, inviting me to be his hot date. So the incredible dude, Cody and I laugh all the time. Like I'm a lucky son of a gun. I'm very blessed in the things that I'm able to do. And it just crazy. I get sick all the time. I've been dealing with a personal issue. I told the wife, I was like, I get lucky with weird stuff, but I'm always sick. I don't know. So I guess it's the trade-off. So I think that's a weird-ass disease happening. But we get there, and the first thing you do is you get hurdling you like cattle. And this is probably the coolest part. But there's just so many cool things. It's hard to start. They're all three sitting down in their jerseys in front of the three Heismans, and you go and take a photo with them. And I was like I'm set. Like, I can go home and be happy, right? Not only do you get a photo with them, they printed it out.
Jeez. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
good. That's
insane photo. So I was like,
that's incredible.
The Knights won. Like, I don't need to do anything else, right?
Well, wait,
we go down
more.
there. If you've been to Spurrier's, there's kind of 3 little rooms. So they had a Tebow room, a Warfel room, and a Spurrier room. I had no idea these cats were going to be in the room eating dinner with us. Like, never once processed that, right? Like, that just seems like crazy to put these guys around a bunch of Gator fans. Like, I was like, that would be exhausting if I'm them, right? Boy, was I wrong. So we happen to have a seat in the Warfel room. Now, there's multiple seats. That doesn't mean you're going to sit with them. It just means you're in the room with them, right? And they're like, okay, you guys are at table 5, me and Brian. So I start heading over to my seat. And as I'm walking, there's 2 seats open, right in the corner. So I'm walking to my seat. As I'm walking, Warfel walks in front of me and sits down, which happened to be his son, which I did not know, in one of the open 2 seats. So then I turn around because the only spot left is the corner seat. And I was like, that was where I was headed with Brian. And I look back, and Brian's sitting there. I was like, hey, you, this is y'all's ticket. Your ticket, dog. I'm not going to sit here. Like, you come sit here. I'll go sit, there's 2 spots over. There's 1 open seat left. And he goes, no, sit down. And I was like, no, this is crazy. He's like, no, sit down. So I sit down, and I have dinner with Danny Werfel. I right next to Danny Werfel, and have dinner with a Heisman Trophy winner in the Florida Gators. We chit-chat. We're familiar because he did the 40 with us. I saw him at SEC Media Day, so he knew who I was, which was really cool. It was cool when we walk in to take the photo. He's like, hey, coach, it's a big prime time right here. Like, talking about me. I was like, that was kind of cool. Like, he recognized me. He asked me about High Top. Like, we chit-chatted. We talked about kids. It was awesome. It was great. The food was exceptional. I don't know if you guys care about that, but it was Wagyu beef and shrimp. Yeah, insane. I'm sitting here having dinner. Like, I'm losing my mind. Like, I'm like, this is nuts. I'm trying to be as cool, as collected as possible. Like, I'm texting, but then I'm like, where the hell's Brian? So I text Brian, I'm like, where are you at? And I thought he was maybe getting a drink. He's like, they moved me because there wasn't enough room because we were supposed to sit with Sean Kelly and Kim Kelly, the wife. So I get up to go to the bathroom. I see him. And meanwhile, I've already eaten dinner. All right. So I'm already done eating. He invites me. He's like, come over. He points to my seat. He goes, hey, you're going to sit here now. He goes, here's your salad. They're going to bring dinner in a minute. I was like, dog, I already ate with Danny. I was like, I'm good. I was like, I'm full. I'm chilling. So then he laughed and we kind of hung out for a little bit. That new seat put me next to see Spurrier's wife and his son. So I was chilling with them. Of course, John comes in. I go over, talk with John, hang out with him for a minute, pick his ear for a little bit. And then Tebow's in that area. That's in Tebow's room. And then I get a chance, obviously, to meet Tebow, get a photo with Tebow, chit-chatted with him for just a quick second. Had a really cool conversation, which I'm not going to talk about because I don't want to jinx it. So if it happens, it happens. But we'll leave it at that. Cody knows, so very excited for that if it does work itself out. Got a selfie with Spurrier as well. And then they printed these photos out, and I ran back, and I got the last signature of Tim Tebow, and he signed
sick.
the photo. So
that's awesome.
Not only do I have this cool photo, but I got it signed. And again, I wasn't really about asking these guys for autographs. They kind of been working all day. But a cool story for me is like my dad and my mom went to the Masters years ago. And my dad, this was way back when, right, the early 90s. And he loved Greg Norman and took a photo with Greg Norman. Like, he walked up next to Greg and he goes, hey, I've got a camera person up here. Just smile, take a photo with me, and got him in stride. Sick-ass photo. Then went back like a year or two later and got him to sign said photo. What I think is cool is, like, there's no value in that. Like, you can't sell it to anybody, but it's meaningful to you. So for me, like, that was always really cool to me. So I have a similar thing. I did that with the Braves coach. Took a picture with him, went back the following year, had him sign it. So for me, like, that's kind of what this was, because I'm like, no one's ever going to want this photo but me. So, yeah, very cool stuff. I think, did I leave anything out? I think that was everything, right, Cody?
Yeah, it was. I think you got it all.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you got to enjoy that. That's badass, man. You deserve it, buddy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was very cool. Again, shout out to Brian. Shout out to Freddie and Florida Legends. Again, I don't know how much money they raised, but I can only imagine what they did. And Sean Kelly and his wife, they're always awesome, fantastic. I got a picture with the Heisman Trophy, which was nuts. Yeah, it was an insane day. It happened so fast. It was hard to. What's also really cool, we were comparing photos. Coach Spur didn't smile on ours, so it's one of a kind. Now I think it may have been because I had my arm on his shoulder, and I go, I probably shouldn't touch Coach, and I go, sorry, Coach, and put my hand down. So he probably was thinking like, what the hell? But no,
you didn't grab his ass or something, did you?
No, I don't know. Maybe I did. It was cool, man. It was insane. Like the event was incredible. I thought it ran very smoothly. The food was fantastic. They had to be exhausted. I tell you what, man, they were great. They were great. I told Steve about the birthday cake we got. We got Steve. He laughed. So
that's awesome, man.
It was nuts. It was nuts.
Yeah,
when you're the mayor. When you're the mayor. Okay, go ahead.
When you're the mayor of Gainesville, man, you kind of call your shot.
Don't forget us, buddy.
I hear you.
Yeah. Don't forget the little guys.
I'll do what I can.
Thank
Smash
you.
the like button, subscribe, boys. We were going to talk about all this chaos. I got to rip now. We can talk about it tomorrow morning. We have plenty of time with these. Go ahead.
Can we see one clip? I got pulled up, ready to go.
The hype one?
No. You boys ready to see a dead body?
Oh boy. Look at
Oh, yeah. I wanted to talk about this. Yeah, actually, good call. Because I wanted to talk about this, and I wanted to talk about the players obviously coming back from the NFL. LSU obviously being the big one.
You got time, or you got a zoning meeting you got to get to? Or
we can play this. I'm going to put it over to you.
I forgot about this, too.
What did you say?
Okay.
What kind of meeting?
Zoning. Tell me when you're ready.
Go ahead.
He looks thrilled.
Looks exhausted.
I can't hear anything, and it's super laggy.
It's laggy. Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
Can't hear it?
No,
I can't hear it.
I've got it
laggy.
right here.
To announce that,
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
need to announce that Ahmad is working his rear end off. He's doing everything we can ask him to do, but just not going to be able to be ready for that first game. We're going to do the very best by him and his team, and our medical team just feel like right now it's in his best interest to hold off. So I want to make sure that I get that out there to the fans now, so there's no false hope there, and hopefully we can get that, he can keep working and try to get back as soon as possible. Really don't have a timetable on that. It's up to his body and his response, and I know he's doing everything he can.
Look, this it sucks, but this isn't. I mean, not a surprise to us. I don't feel like this was ever going to be a thing. I think he tried to put it off and wanted to have that shiny toy, but we said it a month ago. This cat wasn't playing the first month of college football.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got
You
shot.
seen that? Have you guys seen the meme? It's like the hammer, the revolver, and the glass of whiskey, and it's kind of like a little bit fuzzy. That's what he's going through right now, because that, I mean, that's their star player. They don't have a bunch at Mizzou, especially this year coming back. You know what I mean? And you got a young quarterback coming in, Austin Simmons. What's the best thing for a young quarterback is turn around and hand your superstar, All-American running back the ball. But if he's not going to be there,
Yeah,
man, it's going to be tough sledding for Mizzou early.
They got J.J. McCarthy, a first-round selection, doing that.
Okay.
That was a shot. Sorry.
That was low. That was low, even for you.
Yeah, look, it sucks. I mean, I hate it for them, honestly, because it's like you never want to see anybody be hurt. But we had a handful of conversations about this, and again, like returning back from a gunshot wound that he had in May, I was like, no way this cat plays. They're saying mid-September. I would be shocked if he plays week 3, week 4. The way that he looked like the whole thing was like he's like, this is way worse than we thought it was going to be.
Could we not see him at all, and he just kind of head to the NFL?
It's very likely. I mean, who knows? Like we're completely guessing here, and I know that, right? We're kind of just on a whim trying to think of what could be, but it's just one of those.
that looks like a coach that knows what's really up and doesn't want to say it, but is not happy. Like, he looks defeated.
Yeah,
Almost like he was kind of misled of what could be, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we're reading too much into it. But
that's their offense. I mean, that's their offense. Like, he's got to be the guy. But if you want to talk about something else, how about LSU's going to have Daquan Wright and Trey Green playing tight end and slot? That is the dumbest thing I think I've ever seen.
Well, that's
in that tomorrow.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it, but I got to rip. But, yeah, and again, this is kind of my thing. It's the NCAA's fault. Like, people want to get mad at LSU because they're the ones doing it. But I was trying to work on a video this week, but I didn't get a chance to. For me, like, I looked at this situation, and I was like, everyone's kind of looking at it like, oh, this is gross. But I was like, there's a college football team out there that's going to take advantage of this. And who's going to be?
Yeah,
who's
why
it gonna
not
be?
the slimiest one in all of college football, LSU?
He nailed it.
Look, I hear you, and I get it. But, and look, I get
I'm not mad at them. They're just playing by the rules.
That's it.
They're just slimy, though.
The NCAA is lost. They have no idea what they're doing. They're just making things up as they go. They really have no clue what's happening. They just, oh yeah, that sounds good.
Which is how we operate, but that's okay for us to do that.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I would almost
$1 billion.
wonder. I would almost wonder if the SEC is going to have to step in and tell him that he can't play for LSU, because you're not supposed to be able to. Even when the old portal was there, the spring portal,
we're supposed to sidebar this for tomorrow. We're not following our own rules at all. $5 to Juju the Guru. Morning, boys. I ignore the jealousy and keep moving. You don't need everyone to understand your journey. Let your growth speak louder than their opinions. Juju the Guru just straight bombs this morning. Great morning show, boys and girls. 400 strong. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Smash the like button. Subscribe. We're growing like a weed, man. Growing like a weed when it comes to the subscribers. Tonight, live at 8:15. The champ joins us. His insights can be fantastic as he was literally boots on the ground on Saturday. Be there or be square. We'll see you guys later on tonight. Peace and love, baby.
Have no regrets, yeah, I'm tired of my chest.